Okay, so this chapter of Fairy Tail, I definitely gotta say that this is one of the best chapters in a long time of Fairy Tail. I'm super excited to even talk about it because of the fucking epicness and the huge plot twist, so to speak, or advancement, shall I say. I don't know what you want to call it, but just this chapter of Fairy Tail took it to a new level, and I'm so glad to say that because, the past few weeks, personally me, I haven't really been into it. I felt, certain things about it, but this chapter just slam fucking dunk. So it starts off with, Mark Gale was defeated by Natsu and Gray, whatever. Talked about it last week. Ultimately, he's there still like, I haven't been defeated yet because we got the countdown finally. So we finally have it. No more counting down. Face has been fucking activated. That's it. No more. No more countdowns, please. And when Gray and Natsu are having their little argument, I think it's a little bit more than just comedic because on one hand, while of course it could be like, oh, hey, give it to me, give it to me. Ultimately, Gray wants to destroy it because everything that happened with his father, he thinks it's the right thing to do. Just get rid of it immediately. But E.N.D told Natsu, yo, give me the book when you're done, defeating this guy. So he's like, I need to give it to my father. I need to keep my word. So this isn't one of those cases which is good where like, oh, Natsu and Gray are just, joking around. It could be conceived as that, but ultimately they're serious. Like Gray is like, this is a fucking terrible book. We need to get rid of it. But Natsu is on the order. So I like that it was like, while it was one of those moments where, they're arguing, it was more than just, oh, a joke thing. And all the magic is gone. You just see everything is stopping. The fires are stopping. The trains are stopping. Everything, which I didn't think that hero was going to actually do it. I honestly didn't think like all this hype up and everything with, Face constantly is about to count down, it's about to count down. And then we had Lumen Histore in the background. I was like, oh yeah, it's just going to be stopped right away. Like before it even activates, Lumen Histore is going to come and destroy all the Face and everything. The fact that he actually did it and now everybody's magic list kind of reminded me of like a little bit of Edalos. I definitely say that was a very good thing and I'm really excited to see what's going to happen next simply because now nobody can do anything. Like everybody is basically magic list. The only people that can do anything is the characters that I'll talk about in a little bit. One of the things I gotta say though, for starters with Makarov, with the Lumen Histore thing, while I'm glad ultimately that it didn't stop Face and everything because I think it's more interesting this way, it feels a little bit more, deadly, like holy shit. Well, deadly to an extent, but ultimately it's a little bit more, I guess, hazardous if you want to put it or whatever because now it's a little more risky situation, a little more dangerous situation without him doing it. However, it has been hinted for a while and it was a big bombshell. I got Lumen Histore, we're ready to go. So at some given point, I want to see him do something with Lumen Histore. Since it was revealed, we finally got to find out what Lumen Histore is. Ultimately, I want to see something be done with it. Whether it's, afterward, aftermath, he ultimately defeats all the Face by, getting a quick slip to use magic, and he ultimately uses Lumen Histore to destroy all the Face. Something along the lines of that. I want to see, at some given point in this arc, Lumen Histore be activated. I mean, we already know what it is, basically, to a certain degree. That is basically like Mavis's real body, but what can it do? Does it have, like, self-destruction? Does it have the power to grant people magic again? I think one of the plot points ultimately to getting the magic back might actually be Lumen Histore. I think that it's so strong that Mavis will still have magic even though everything has went out. So I'm kind of 50-50 with that. It's like, it was a predictable plot point, so ultimately it not going down was good in a way. It's like, okay, it was predictable that it was going to happen, so the fact that it didn't was good. But at the same time, it's kind of like, we've seen it, so at some given point, I want to see it actually activated in emotion. Another thing about this chapter was like, it was unnecessary. I ain't gonna lie, I didn't mind seeing it, but it was unnecessary. The Lucy panty shots and the Lisana butt-ass naked because magic went away. Ultimately, it was like, didn't really need that in a very serious moment right now. Literally everybody is defenseless against any attack, any enemy attack, any demon, anything can ultimately, fuck them up because they have no way to defend themselves. So it was kind of like, not at this moment right now. Maybe next chapter or a couple chapters down when we're done with this arc. But shit just gets so real. It was so real and I was like, this is what I've been wanting to see. When you just fucking see the Acnologia drop down onto the fucking ground like he got knocked the fuck out and Ignil's on top of him like, don't give up, you humans. I was like, this is that fucking epicness I want to see, and it takes dragons to do it, but I'm fucking all for it. I was like, did Ignil just fuck up the Acnologia? I don't think Acnologia is completely down yet. I think maybe Ignil right now just got him with a 1-2, but I don't think he's completely down. But I'm wondering, since all magic is gone, can the dragons still use some of their magic, or was it that they can't even fly anymore because they use magic to fly? Well, they got big-ass wings. I think they could fly easily, but maybe they can't use their fire, breathing fire anymore. Maybe some of their magical powers are gone too, now that magic has went away, or maybe the dragons are impervious to it. Maybe the only people that can do anything at this point, or the only beings that can do anything, is the actual dragons themselves, and of course curses from the demons. Which kind of makes me wonder, how would curses be able to be used in this particular point if, you know, basically curses spun off from magic, so wouldn't they still be technically a part of magic? I don't know. But then the big bombshell, even more so, was when the ship was going down, Ichiya, which I don't think anyone was like, oh, poor Ichiya. I was like, who gives a fuck? But ultimately when Grandine showed up, I was like, Hiro Mashima, thank you. I thought we were going to have to wait a long time, and in all honesty, this arc is really looking like this could be the finale for Fairy Tail. This could, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this was the finale for Fairy Tail. Like, Fairy Tail ends after this because, I mean, we're seeing all the dragons. We've seen Grandine. We've seen the Iron Dragon. We've seen a couple different dragons. What the fuck is going on? Like, first of all, we better get a damn good explanation as to what happened. I hope we don't have to be in a cliffhanger for like a billion chapters waiting to see how the fuck they got back. The only thing I can think of is maybe as magic decreases, the amount of magic in the world, then the dragons could come back, or was it maybe simply because Igneel was able to come back, he was able to summon them? Because we didn't see them come out of like Wendy and all them, like how Igneel came out of Natsu. They came from somewhere else, like from the fucking ground, so maybe they were in the core of the earth the entire time, which in a sense would be that they were in hell, but yeah. And also got to comment, the art looked magnificent in this chapter too. The dragons and everything, like, this was one of the best chapters since like the early 400s, like, you know, 400, 401 and stuff like that. This was just like, the art looked magnificent. And we also get to find out in this chapter that the original name for Magnolia was Ishgar, if I'm correct. The name of this continent was actually originally called Ishgar. And that got to make you wonder, unless of course it's some sort of plot hole, whatever, if Igneel and Natsu, if he was around to raise Natsu, then wouldn't he already have known that this is called Magnolia? Why would he call it Ishgar other than, you know, it could be that he just was like, they all know it as Ishgar. We grew up in Ishgar. That was our hometown. We're going to call it that. Or it could be that Natsu was never really with Igneel in this timeline. This could have been, again, in the past, that theory that, you know, they are, like, the Dragon Slayers are hundreds of years old because they came from that time. And overall, this chapter, great chapter, one of the best Fairy Tail chapters in probably a month or two now. It was on fire, honestly. You got the return of the dragons. You got Igneel knocking the Acting Logia down. You got the activation of Face. You got that Lumen Histore is there, but at the moment, Makarov couldn't do anything, and he's basically there like, I'm sorry, I fucked up. That was like, god damn. In all honesty, the only two things I would argue about this chapter is, one, the unnecessary fan service. Didn't need it. It was a very serious moment, and it was kind of like, why is this there? And also, Lumen Histore, while I'm glad that it didn't activate because that means, you know, this is more of a serious threat, ultimately, why build it up to begin with if it wasn't going to be activated? But those are very small nitpicks. In all honesty, 9.5 out of 10 for this chapter. Fuck yeah, I love it when I get to say that I fucking enjoyed a Fairy Tail chapter. Great shit. Let me know what you thought of this chapter. What do you think about the dragons coming back? How did they come back? Was it Igneel summoning them? Where were they this entire time? So many questions about that. Also, what do you think? Is Lumen Histore gonna, at some given point, be the answer to bringing back magic? And what do you think about End? Like, I'm curious now how much longer until End comes in. If End does arrive, I want him to at least be strong enough to kill a couple dragons or something. Like, he definitely, as much as End has been hyped up, almost as much as Zeroth, I want to see End take some bodies. Like, this is the time, even if it's the dragons or something, End better do something. And your overall thoughts of this chapter? Great shit. Again, I gotta keep saying it. Great chapter. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, if you could do so as well, that'd be awesome. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.